Imagine two brains. One, alive with coordinated fireworks of neural activity, connections firing across all regions like a gracefully synchronized ballet. The other, dim flickers of engagement, like isolated islands of electrical activity. Here's the twist though. Both brains belong to bright university students, sitting in the exact same lecture. Same professor, same material, equal intelligence, and equal interest in the subject. So why the difference in brain activity? One holds a trusty pen poised over line paper, while the other's fingers hover over a laptop keyboard. This neural contrast is just one piece of mounting evidence suggesting that our rush through digital convenience may come with significant cognitive costs. Now, this isn't a story about nostalgia, it's about science. We live in the age of digital everything, where we can type from the comfort of our beds and store notes in the cloud. But what if the most powerful learning tool costs just 50 cents and fits in your pocket? The pen, they say, is mightier than the sword. Yet have you ever been told it might be mightier than the keyboard? As early as the 1980s, it was well documented that note-taking was significantly more effective for learning than just passively listening. The pen, no doubt, was mighty. But in a world of endless apps and technologies promising to make us faster and smarter, does the seemingly archaic tool still hold its power? In 2014, researchers Paul Mueller and Daniel Oppenheimer designed an elegant experiment to test the quality of learning while taking notes by hand versus notes on a laptop. Princeton University students watched TED Talks while taking notes half by hand and then half on laptops. Those who wrote by hand scored 20% higher on conceptual understanding questions. Not just slightly better, that's dramatically better. It's also not that the laptop users were lazy. They actually wrote more, like way more. Their notes were longer, more detailed, and more complete. Yet they learned less. Why? Essentially, because typing is too easy. This makes sense when we think about it. When you type, words flow from the ear to the fingertips, bypassing the brain entirely. People tend to become human transcription machines, writing what they hear word for word. But handwriting, your hands simply can't keep up with speech. You're forced to slow down. You have to actively listen, process, and summarize the information, putting it in your own words. Later, the researchers experimented by explicitly telling the laptop users, don't write word for word. It didn't matter. The temptation of the keyboard was too strong, and they still ended up transcribing. Both groups were later allowed to review the notes before testing, and even so, the pen note takers consistently outperformed laptop users. In the years that followed, Daniel Oppenheimer's research caught the attention of neuroscientist Audrey Vandermeer. She had one burning question: what's actually happening inside the brain? At first, she was skeptical. Maybe handwriting was just giving an advantage because of laptop distractions. For example, notifications, multiple tabs, or text messages. The contagious nature of technology that just pulls attention away. So, using EEG bathing caps, and no, not the ones you go swimming with, she was able to monitor the brain activity as students switched between typing and handwriting. The high-density electroencephalogram, EEG, is equipped with electrodes and allows scientists to essentially peer directly into the brain to see the activated neural connections. She found that when people wrote by hand, their brains exploded with brain activity. Neural networks fired in perfect harmony across multiple regions. But typing, the brain barely flickered. The handwriters showed something remarkable: theta and alpha wave patterns connecting across their brains. These aren't just random electrical signals. They're the frequencies of learning itself. Theta waves help process new information and boost working memory, while alpha waves strengthen long-term memory formation. Vandermeer concluded that handwriting requires precise fine motor coordination that activates complex, multisensory pathways in the brain, leaving deep memory traces, as opposed to when one is essentially typing in the blind, where information seems to go in through the ears and straight out the fingertips. The brain follows a simple rule: use it or lose it. If we stop handwriting, we might actually lose brain function over time, said Audrey Vandermeer. This isn't just about college students. The handwriting advantage spans every age. Preschoolers learning German letters by writing them outperformed kids who typed them. The handwriters scored higher in reading, writing, and letter recognition. Adults learning Arabic who practiced by hand not only mastered words faster, but surprisingly, also became better readers and spellers, even though they never practiced those skills specifically. And most remarkably, older adults with mild cognitive impairment who practiced Chinese calligraphy for 8 weeks saw their working memory improve by over 30%. Those using iPads, just 11%. Because handwriting isn't just about recording words, it's a cognitive workout. It creates a personal mental fingerprint. It's memory, it's meaning, and it's human. When you write, you might draw arrows or underline, sketch diagrams, or change the size of your letters. All of these become memory cues. Later, when you review your notes, those cues can trigger entire memories of the lecture. Just think back to a time when you borrowed someone else's handwritten notes. They often make no sense, maybe because you can't even read them, but also because handwriting creates a deeply personal connection between the brain and information. Every curve of a letter, every pause between words becomes part of the memory itself. Typed notes, by contrast, tend to be uniform and lack those idiosyncratic anchors. Now, there's no doubt that typing can feel productive, so do tablets, ebooks, and of course AI tools. But when it comes to real learning, convenience often comes at a cost. Daniel Oppenheimer suggests that people seek desirable difficulties that compels them to engage earnestly with the material, like trying to reframe information in their own words, or just discussing what they have learned with other people. Most people don't naturally engage in these strategies because they are harder, and we tend to prefer ease to difficulty. But thinking harder is good for learning. Abraham Flanagan, a researcher on the same subject, tells a story of a diligent and studious girl in one of his classes. The girl was exceptionally motivated. She arrived to class early, she always sat up front, and submitted her assignments on time. Yet she also always typed her notes during class. She typed so fast that she could have been a courtroom transcriptionist. Yet she struggled. The lectures just weren't sticking for her. Despite copious notes, the information went in one ear and then out the other. So Flanagan suggested one simple change: pick up a pen. After the switch, as if by magic, she had better attention, deeper processing, and the information actually stuck. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle said, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet." Although new shiny tools like note-taking devices and artificial intelligence may appear to expedite work or boost productivity, convenience does not often enhance learning. In a world sprinting toward the digital, try not to leave the analog behind. Your brain is waiting. Those neural pathways, they're not just in the lab, they're in you, ready to light up the moment you pick up a pen. Science tells us handwriting helps you think more deeply, remember more clearly, and understand more fully. Vandermeer laments that it's a shame to see that many teachers now meet children who barely know how to hold a pencil. She hopes that people rediscover the value of handwriting, be it through poems, love letters, or even simple grocery lists. So keep a pen in your pocket, write that to-do list, keep a journal, and let your kids draw with crayons. Because every stroke of ink builds a stronger, sharper, and more connected brain. Handwriting has always been more than just a skill. It's a reflection of personality, of individual and cultural identity. For thousands of years, humans have pressed meaning into marks. Cave paintings, ancient scrolls, the Constitution. Each stroke carries a unique imprint of the person behind it. For some, it's even a form of art celebrated for its finesse and beauty. And beyond all that, handwriting is part of our cultural heritage. It's part of what makes us human. If this opened your eyes to the power of the pen, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who types too fast for their own good, or that friend who still loves writing notes the old school way. And don't forget to subscribe for more content.